Hola amigos, bien o no, y saludos desde Inglaterra. Hoy el tema es escuchando, listening, y por qué esto puede ayudarnos a mejorar nuestra fluidez. Ese es el tema de hoy. So, hello again, back to a more normal day today. So the theme of the day is listening, and why this is probably the most important thing we can do to help us improve our fluency. Now you may say why, because surely the idea is to practice speaking. Is our problem is speaking? Why do we need to listen? And how is that going to help us improve our speaking? Well, really because the listening is one of the most useful tools in communication generally. So it's a well said rule, but if we listen more and talk less, our communication will generally improve. The problem we get to when we're learning the new language particularly is because we feel a bit nervous about speaking generally, or we're more anxious in the situation because we realize our limitation of the language, we have a sense of urgency that we need to speak right now, get all those words out, when actually we might not need to do that. We might not need to panic ourselves into speaking too much. And if we stay calm, listen to what the other person's saying, and perhaps instead of thinking of things we need to say, use one or two useful questions to check understanding, get some more detail from that other person, and show that we've understood what they've said. Now, we looked at this in some other videos before, but something like, oh, I see, I understand. Or if we don't understand, what do you mean when you say this? Check your understanding. This gets us a much quicker connection with the other person. And then when we get to say our piece that we've tried to ask them, it's better received. So think of it like that. As we're going forward into things to practice for the upcoming year, one of the things I suggest you try, find as many interviews as you can on any subject, but start with the subject that you really understand fairly well. Don't worry so much about what the other person says in reply, but focus particularly on how the interviewer, the person asking the questions, asks the questions. What kind of questions do they use? And how does that help generate more information from the other person? Because if you get the hang of that, if you can ask those type of questions on the subject of your choice, this means when you come to have those conversations, they will progress better. It'll be easier for you, a bit less stressful, and in some ways you need to remember less, because you only need to remember the form of one or two useful questions. Let the other person speak, listen for the key words that you're looking for to understand the general topic, and again, ask those correcting questions if something's not clear, but really let the other person do the work for you, and then say the thing you need to say. So look at that as a strategy, because I think that will help you save a bit of time in terms of all the vocabulary you need to use. It should help you feel a little less anxious in the general situation, because you only need to ask a question and listen to the response, and then perhaps ask another correcting question, rather than you do all the talking. Try it. See what you think. Déjame saber en los comentarios, como siempre. But for now, we'll say cheerio.